Welcome back to ZBCN Today, and in this episode we're tackling one of the most persistent, most misunderstood, and frankly most annoying narratives circulating around the Zebec community. The idea that Zebec somehow can't pump or grow because the supply is too large. Over the last few weeks, you've probably seen countless posts, panicked threads, confused tweets, and non-stop chatter about token unlocks, circulating percentages, and this belief that the supply automatically caps our upside. But when you actually break things down, when you step back and look at actual data instead of recycled fear, the entire argument crumbles almost instantly. People keep repeating that more tokens unlocking is bearish, or that having a big circulating supply makes it impossible to reach higher valuations. And this is where the misunderstanding starts. Zebec is already 95% circulating. 95%. That means the overwhelming majority of tokens are already in play, already accounted for, already part of the market. When you are sitting at a near complete circulating supply, an additional 1% or even 2% becoming unlocked does not move the needle in any meaningful way. Some of those tokens will be locked again, some will be staked, some will get absorbed into long-term holdings, and some will simply sit dormant. But the point is, the effect is minimal. You cannot treat Zebec as if it's a project with 20% circulating supply and massive cliffs ahead. We're already in the final stretch. The idea that incoming unlocks will crash the price is drastically overestimated because the market has already priced in a nearly full supply. Everything shared in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Now let's address the bigger and far more delusional claim. Zebec won't pump because the supply is too big. This is one of those arguments that people repeat without thinking, because when you compare Zebec to actual real-world examples, the entire claim disintegrates. The best example, and the one that instantly exposes the myth, is Tron, TRX. Tron has almost the exact same circulating supply as Zebec. We're talking nearly a 1-to-1 match. Zebec is around 94.8 billion tokens circulating. Tron sits at around 94.6 billion. It is almost identical, and yet Tron is sitting at a massive $26.5 billion market cap. Compare that to Zebec's roughly $280 million market cap, and the difference becomes undeniable. If you take Tron's current market cap and divide it by Zebec's, you're looking at an approximate 95x gap, 95 times larger. That means if Zebec simply grows to the level Tron is already at, not theoretically could reach, not hypothetically someday, but literally where Tron sits today, that alone would give Zebec holders a 95x return. Show me one person who's complaining about a 95x. The point here is not whether Zebec will hit Tron-level valuations tomorrow. The point is that it is provably possible for a token with Zebec's supply to reach those heights. Because Tron has already done it, the supply is not the limitation, market cap is. And if that example isn't enough, let's look at Stellar, XLM, and XRP, two giants with large supplies and massive valuations. Stellar has around 32 billion tokens circulating and a maximum supply of around 50 billion, and yet it sits comfortably in the multi-billion-dollar range with an $8 billion plus market cap. XRP, on the other hand, has around 60 billion circulating tokens and a max supply of 100 billion. That means XRP still has around 40 billion tokens waiting to enter circulation over time, and yet it lives in a $132 billion market cap zone. If supply were truly the barrier people think it is, XRP would have never crossed 10 billion, let alone 100 plus billion. But it did. It proved that supply does not block growth. These examples, Tron, Stellar, XRP, all demonstrate the same truth. Large supply is not a problem. It never was. The only thing that matters is how much money enters the ecosystem. That's literally it. And this brings us to the simplest explanation that somehow still confuses people. Token supply and token price are irrelevant when it comes to how much money flows into a project. Let's simplify this as much as possible. If $100 million enters a project with a supply of 100 million tokens, the price becomes 1 per token. If the same $100 million enters a project with a supply of 95 billion tokens, the price becomes a tiny fraction of $1. But here's the detail everyone misses. It is the same $100 million. It is the same market cap increase. The price per token does not matter. It doesn't matter if your price is 0.001 or $1. Investors make money from percentage gains, not from how expensive the token looks. If a token goes from 0.01 to 1, that's a 10x. If another token goes from $1 to $10, that's also a 10x. The return is identical. People get emotionally attached to the unit price, but the unit price has nothing to do with actual value. The only thing that matters is percentage increase, which is tied directly to market cap, not token supply. This is why retail often gets misled. Retail investors look at a token priced at fractions of a penny and think, wow, I can buy millions for cheap. If it hits $1, I'll be rich. Meme coins play into this psychology heavily. They create ridiculously large supplies so the token appears cheap and retail falls for the illusion. But here's the actual punchline. Retail doesn't move large markets. Retail can hype, scream, panic, argue on social media, but when it comes to real valuation growth, the kind that pushes market caps into the billions, it's institutions, funds, whales, and real financial infrastructure that matter. Not retail psychology, not people looking for a cheap lotto ticket. And that's exactly why the fixation on Zebec's supply feels so disconnected from reality. Institutions don't care how many tokens exist. They care about what the ecosystem is building, what problems it solves, what partnerships it forms, and what role it plays in broader financial infrastructure. Zebec's potential doesn't come from having a low-price token. It comes from building real-time settlement rails, payment streaming infrastructure, and plugging into real institutional liquidity, the exact same factors that lifted projects like Tron, Stellar, and XRP into the multi-billion-dollar range. So when we talk about Zebec's future, the real question is not, can a high-supply token pump? Because we already know the answer is yes, proven, demonstrated, visible. The real question is, how much capital will eventually flow into Zebec's ecosystem as its infrastructure expands? That is what determines growth. That is what determines returns. That is what determines whether Zebec becomes a multi-billion-dollar project. And supply has absolutely nothing to do with that equation. Token unlock fear is overblown. Supply-based panic is misguided. The only metric that ever truly matters is how much money flows in. And Zebec is building the kind of infrastructure that attracts big money, not retail pocket change. So to close this out, let's simplify everything into one truth. Tokens with large supplies pump all the time. Tron did it. Stellar did it. XRP did it. The supply never stopped them. Market cap dominance, institutional capital, and real ecosystem value are what drive long-term growth. Zebec's supply is not a barrier. It is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is whether Zebec continues building systems that the real financial world chooses to adopt. If that happens, and the trajectory so far suggests it very well might, the upside is massive, the potential is untouched, and the supply has nothing to do with it. Thanks for watching ZBCN today. Stay tuned, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next deep dive.